Alrighty. Hey there, guys. We are back today with another episode of Twisting It with Taffy. Alrighty. Hey there, guys. We are back today with another episode of Twisting It with Taffy. If you have listened to my podcast in the past, you've definitely heard her voice before. Returning again is my best friend in the world, Aubrey. Just for the sake of redundancy, go ahead and introduce yourself. Things have changed in the 6 months since we've fucking talked or done anything.
I'm Aubrey. I have a podcast with another one of my friends. What Are We Talking About? We've continued to do that. I have a boring, normal office job, and, I'm just excited to get into a fun, interesting conversation and see where it leads us.
Yeah. So without further ado, I think that's a pretty solid introduction. It's always weird to try to get the same introduction out of the same person
For sure.
multiple times. But so, jumping into the topic of the podcast, sex.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Have you ever done it?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a person who enjoys sex. When we were talking about doing this episode, I started thinking about what's something that's been interesting to me recently on this topic, and I was recently really interested in that Netflix show, How to Build a Sex Room. Granted, I was excited because I was like, oh, I want to see some really cool dungeon designs, and you do get that, but I think it's more of like kink for the vanilla couple, like introducing all these ideas, like bondage and, power play, like domination, submission type stuff, pegging, anal play, like introducing these concepts to couples that maybe aren't familiar with them. A lot of the couples in the show do already participate in these activities, but like the way they
Aren't
explain
super open about it.
Yeah. Like one of the early couples, they have a small child, so their sex room is built behind a bookshelf or like a cabinet in their basement.
Yeah.
And it's like totally hidden. Which I was like, that's kind of smart, because if you've got a bunch of small children running around, you don't want them accidentally running around. But I was also thinking, what happens when the child grows up and just obviously eventually either comes across the room of their own volition, like figures it out, or sees this online?
I feel like you can tell.
I just feel like it would be a
when
really...
your kid gets to that point and you're just like, hey, by the way, there's this room.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go into it because you're not going to like what you're going to find out.
Well, but then I was thinking about it and I was like, well, maybe this is good because that opens up that conversation more for those families and things like that. Because that's like definitely something that I don't feel like I ever had to talk about. Like I just figured out all that information on my own.
My family is the opposite of kinky by any means.
For sure.
But yeah, I watched the like 2/3 of the first episode and just didn't really get into it. Because to me it was like. It was just a weird way to do home improvement.
Yeah, and the first few couples are very vanilla by, I would say, anyone that's into kink. That by their standards, they're extremely vanilla.
I heard about it and I was super excited about it. I'm just kind of tired of the format in which they do.
What really piqued my interest is there's a polyamorous couple, and they introduced the two of them just like a normal couple at first, and then they're like, oh no, we want our room to be for us and our 5 other partners. So there's 7 of them, and she's got to figure out how to make this huge room. Like, it's got a bed big enough for all of them to sit and, like, cuddle and do all their stuff. It's even got, like, harness and...
Attachment points.
Attachment points, yeah, that are strong enough. They've got, like, a projector for movie night. One of the guys is kind of into, like, watching and voyeurism. So he's got a little closet with a peephole, but it's also a sex toy closet. This room incorporated, I think, the most amount of kink of any of the rooms, because one of the girls was also like, but I also want a drain in the middle of the room so we can do, like, piss play and things like that. So they had that. They had a bench. They had a huge shower, and I was like, okay, now we're getting to the point where I'm getting the designs that I was hoping from the beginning, because like, yeah, the beginning is very tame, and I haven't watched the whole thing, so I don't know. But they do, like, they also explore relationships that aren't just cis-het couples, and I appreciate that, because when we approach these things from only like a cisgender hetero relationship perspective, it's like, but that's not everything. Like, there are so much more things than just that, and so many more different dynamics.
There's so much more to explore.
Yeah.
Speaking of dungeons, I guess we could talk about my experience going to my first dungeon lately. I'm not gonna say where, just for sake of not outing other people, but I went to my first dungeon. Fantastic fucking time.
Yeah.
I go to their little their meet and greet, which they do, like, I think it's like the first Monday of every month, which is pretty common with red rooms, dungeons, whatever you want to call them. Like, kink communities in general will have a social lunch where you get together and you kind of meet the people who are in charge, or like put it together, and then that usually, because you're new, will give you free entry and to that for the night, which is what I did.
Okay.
Which was nice to save me $20, but like, then you go there, and I don't know about other ones, but I know this one you have like a little orientation of like the do's and the don'ts and where everything is, and then they show you around. It's not a huge place by any means, but it's like
can you give me some examples of like the do's and the don'ts and things like that?
I mean, I
think I know, but like, give me.
So
what
it was.
They say?
I mean, it was more so just very obviously focused towards, consent orientation, like don't interrupt someone, like don't interrupt people's scenes, and like that goes for like if you're just in the play area and they're having a scene, don't be like making super loud noises for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's kind of different in your scene, but it's also like case by case basis. If you're naked and you're sitting on something, wear a towel.
Yeah.
No pets.
Yeah.
Their big thing was like nothing that can lead to like smell related stuff. So no pee, no poop, no diaper play, any of that stuff. There was fire play, but you couldn't, like, it had to be on like a hairless portion of a body.
Okay.
Because you can't have like burning hair smell.
Yeah. That's fair.
And just safety wise, but like other stuff was allowed there, like needle play and some shit that I was like, some of the stuff on my hard no list was like there, and I was like, oh cool, I'll just stay the fuck away from that.
So, speaking of things like that, is sounding a yes or a no for you?
No.
It's a hard no?
Hell the fuck no. Absolutely not.
That's just something that I've
terrifying.
learned about that I'm like, that is very interesting. I would never want to participate, but
No.
I'm curious as to what makes that somebody's kink.
I don't even want to know, because it's one of those things that just hurts to think about every time someone says the word. It's just like, my penis shrivels a little bit.
Yeah.
It hurts. I don't like it. But, so I went there to the room. They've got, so like they have their entrance, and then their playroom is separate from the rest of the facility, which is like, they've got a little corner that is for like decompressing and like aftercare, and they'll like play a movie in there on their TV or something. And it's where you can just go to like talk and whatnot. They've got like a small kitchenette area where you like they have snacks and whatnot.
Okay.
And then like an area where you can like do like the space where they did their orientations, like a classroom kind of thing / place where you can do board games or like whatnot. They do have board game nights every once in a while there, and I'd love to go to that. That'd be so much fun. But then you go into the playroom, and it's just a big wide open place with they have it's got very industrial vibe to it.
Yeah.
They've got one like it can be closed off section that like has medical equipment. They have like a dentist chair with like dentist lighting. They have like the stirrups. They have the medical operators like table.
Oh, so they've got a lot of fun like set stuff.
Yeah,
like
they have
equipment.
Yeah, they have full wrestling mats, which I partake. It's why my eye is currently black. I went wrestling with one of the guys there, and he like headbutted me, and I was like, oh fuck. And then they have a zip line in there, which I ended up using.
Yeah, I did see that video. That looked real fun.
Oh my god, it was so much fun. I found a new thing. Wearing my work gear completely naked and letting people just throw me around like a rag doll is my new favorite thing. And then they also have just a bunch of points that you can like lower from the roof. Like they're metal rings that you can lower from the roof for like tying off for shibari. They have a lot of shibari focused stuff like bondage and whatnot. Mm-hmm. They have their spanking chairs and their like sex swings, and they have like a full swing they have a full pretty much bed suspended on chains like in the air.
Oh wow.
They have a pommel horse.
No, but what would you do with that?
They have a saddle on it that people will have sex on. I did it. I did some like gymnastic stuff, and I was like, "Wow, I've never seen this used for anything other than getting railed on."
Right, I've only ever seen it used for gymnastics, so I'm just like interesting, curious. How does this work?
Trying to think of what else. There was some like monkey bar kind of stuff that I was kind of just like fucking around with like rock climbing techniques and stuff. That was kind of fun because my biggest thing is voyeurism and exhibitionism, which is why I'm in my underwear on this podcast. I also just love being looked at whenever I'm naked. Also, nudity is totally cool there. So as soon as I was done with the orientation, I took off my clothes so fast that they were like, you were just clothed. How did you get? I'm like,
where'd they all go?
There was clothing here a second ago, and I was like, yes, there was. But I'm a theater kid, and they are gone.
Yeah.
I'm a professional clothes taker offer. I wouldn't say stripper because I don't get paid for it.
Professional peeler. I introduced Taffy to the term peeler the other day, which is what my family's like child-friendly word for stripper was. They'd say, she's gonna grow up to be a peeler, and we'd say, what's that? And they'd say, a girl who peels off all her clothes.
If you guys have heard this, please tell me, because I still don't believe that this is like a common terminology.
I'm like, surely there are other like conservative Midwest families that used that word. Like, it's like hoochie mama is the nice word for whore. You know?
I don't like, cause like,
and I don't understand that.
I still think whore is a nicer word than a hoochie mama.
I would agree.
You know how upset I would be if someone called my partner a hoochie mama? Whereas if they're just like, yeah, you're a whore, I'd be like, well, yeah, like, obviously, like, yeah, I'm a whore.
It's the terminology is always so fun when people just don't want to say the word. It's just really interesting to me.
But after that, I went 2 nights in a row, and it was a lot of fun. I met the owner, and he really liked me, so I'll definitely be going back whenever I move to said location, if I do. But other than that, I don't know. You wanna just get into each other's sex lives? How's that been going?
Oh well, I mean, I don't feel like I have a lot to report in that arena as a monogamous person, which I'm
Have
sure.
you discovered anything new that you like to do? Have you tried anything fun recently?
No, I kind of like, at this point I feel like I know what I like, but I am one of the people that I'm not necessarily into things, but I have an innate curiosity to understand why it makes someone tick, why, so like I'm always fascinated when there's...
I'm sure you love hearing about my stories.
No, yeah, I get to live vicariously through your adventures because I just get to hear about, okay, this is what other people do, and it's, you know, not that I'm not trying to like sell myself as boring, but I understand for people that are extremely kinky, yeah, I would be on the more vanilla side. I'm just more adventurous than your typical people.
You're just more open to most.
Well, that too, and it's also I'm open to the conversation about it. Like I'm not going to shy away from a conversation about sex, because if you can't have a conversation about sex, you shouldn't be having sex. That's my opinion.
Like, I will admit, I have yet to find any topic or situation in which you've legitimately become uncomfortable talking about.
No, because, I mean, it's...
I'm
not going to cut myself off to those conversations because why... I don't know. Like that doesn't go anywhere, and that doesn't... If it makes you uncomfortable, then you should want to talk about it even more so you can figure out what it is that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And, you know, confront that. I don't know. But I think that's part of growing up in a really sheltered religious community is nobody ever talks about
yeah.
sex. And
Nobody
so you
talks
grow
about it.
up realizing, oh my gosh, all the people around me have all this misinformation in their heads about what's safe and what's not safe, and I don't want to be like that. So I'm going to find as much information as I can. Maybe too much information. But that's something I'm really grateful for, is my curiosity. Because curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Nobody ever remembers that second part.
Cause like, for me, I've definitely discovered some new things, getting more into my kinky side and exploring. Like, I went to Exotica,
Yeah.
which, what was last month? This is August.
Yeah.
I'm so bad with time. Time is ruined for me with the amount of acid that
But,
I do. But I went there. I only went there for one day because I didn't have the money or the time to do it. I spent the extra money and got the VIP ticket because it was only $90.
Oh.
Only
absolutely.
$90, and I got a free goodie bag with like and I got to go to like the VIP section, which I got to meet like more of the models.
Is Exotica more geared towards like the sex worker industry or like the sex toy industry, or is it like both?
It was a good mixture of both. There was it was a lot like an anime convention, but fully about sex.
Oh yeah.
So like you had people in cosplay. You had like Chatterbait has their booth where they have a bunch of people streaming and like showing off and having fun. There's no full nudity, but
What's Florida's policy on things like that?
I don't know. I didn't look.
Which is interesting to me. I would think Florida would be one of the states to be a little more lax about things.
I mean,
but
nudity is legal in the right spots. Like there's nude beaches all over the place, and there's a nude bar in Key West, and there's
Right.
nude friendly pools and.
But I guess with a convention, that's tricky.
Yeah. I think it was more so just the place they were having at's rules, I would imagine, but I don't know.
No, that's what I'm thinking too, because I'm sure that I've seen before, like, there are conventions where there are people having sex on stage or in different, situations. So I'm like, I wonder.
I'm sure Las Vegas is a little bit more open to it.
Yeah.
Which I want to go to.
And they probably
the
have more
ones out
open venues for that situation.
Ooh, that reminds me. I've got a really good topic for us to get into in a second when we finish this. So there's there's booths for Chatterbait. There's a booth for My Free Cams. Bad Dragon had a whole booth, and they handed out a bunch of like cool, nifty little like toys. I got a bunch of free like mini dildos and shit that are great.
Oh.
They had like seminars. I only went to one, and it wasn't great, but and then they have like shows like Tiny Texie, I think is her name.
Okay.
Was there. She's the world's smallest proportioned stripper. So she's absolutely tiny. She's like 3 feet tall.
Oh my gosh.
And
Just a little doll.
yeah, and then you have like major porn stars like Lauren Phillips was there.
Yeah.
Randy Bell was there.
Oh wow.
I got to talk to both of them. They were great. And I also got it was just nice because I got to meet all of my favorite cam models that I've been watching for. I got to meet 4 out of my top 5.
Yeah.
And I met a lot of new people and people that I can finally start working with, and that's going to get me into the industry a little bit smoother, I hope, and just hopefully it leads to situations that let me learn about what I need to do a little bit more.
I was just super entertained by the like shibari type room that you were in, where there was a lot of people being suspended and things like that.
They had like a small little BDSM dungeon thing where like you signed a waiver, and like they didn't go super hard, but like they had people doing flogging and paddling, which I love being flogged because I can take.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is I've now the last 2 months I've had 3 people who are like experienced BDSM people that do it for like a pseudo living, if not like fully for a living. They're like, okay, I don't want to hurt you, and I'm like, I'm not big into it, but like I think I can take a bait, and they fucking wail on me, and they're like, I thought you said you didn't like a lot. I was like, that's not painful, and they're like, oh my god, that's terrifying.
Yeah, you grow up with spankings, you gotta, Callous
No,
to
it's
your end, right?
no. My philosophy is just what's going on inside of my head hurts more than what they could ever do to me
Oh
outside.
God. I guess that is the philosophy with kink, though, in some ways.
Well, because like there was at the dungeon that I went to, they the person, one of the people there brought their whole like. It was basically a gun case full of sex toys.
Oh wow.
Which was great. It was like huge, held so much shit, and like they like showed them off and like passed them around for everyone to like try it out, and I would just beat the shit out of myself. And they're like, "What are you talking? Like what?" And then like, they like because I my thing is with contact play, or whatever the proper term is. I don't like wooden paddles. I don't like anything with like, cause like wooden paddles like send the full weight through you. It's a full sting.
Play. Yeah.
But everything else just doesn't hurt because it's like a thud or a nice like tingle. Like I love being flogged because it's the one with the multiple like whip thingies, and you kind of just like go like this, and people will go hard on me, and I love it because it's just like it's like getting punched by a baby, and it just feels comfortable.
But not like a wooden paddle with holes.
Yeah, that shit hurts.
Oh, okay.
I hate the wooden paddle with holes. But yeah, so we went into that room, and they were doing like shibari lessons, and the people that are doing it were so fucking fast and quick. Like the dude got me tied up almost immediately. I was like, holy shit. Like no time at all.
Yeah.
Got me suspended. First time ever being like in the air, like swinging around. It was a lot of fun. I want to do it again, but it's hard to find people. Especially like with my line of work and traveling as much as I do that can. Plus I need to just invest in getting the rope and learning to do it myself. Because I want to get into it.
And you gotta have somewhere that's weight bearing. Like
you can do it on a lot of trees.
Okay.
And I want to do it. It's just like so much effort, so much energy. I'm just like, someone else tie me up.
Well, I think that's part of the experience is having somebody else tie you up and the going through all of that. But that's also for me that's more of like a sexual thing, like, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so outside of Exotica, I did learn something new recently.
Yeah.
And that is there is no public nudity laws in Vermont.
In Vermont?
No public nudity laws. It is only illegal to disrobe. So as long as you start off naked, you're legal. So like if say you're in your car and you take off your clothes, that's fine, or your house. But like if you were to like go to a beach or something and disrobe there, then it's illegal.
Okay.
But I need to go to Vermont now.
I don't know if that's a law you should test, you know? Like
I don't have to. I just watched a whole like YouTube video on it, and it's been a thing since the 70s.
Damn.
Like most watering
Vermont
holes
be
or swimming
kinky,
places
apparently.
they're just open. Like clothing optional places, they have like their college out there has a nude bike ride every year, and fun shit like that. Now
Is
I'm gonna go
that
explore.
what so there's one of the American Pie movies is the Naked Mile, and it's that Naked Run. I'm like, is that playing off of that college's Naked Bike Ride, you think?
Well, so the Naked Run or the Naked Mile
Or
or
is that a
whatever
real
naked
thing?
version is a thing at a large portion of colleges have a version. It's usually not sanctioned by any means, and it's not like an official thing.
The nude
But
bike
it's
ride is.
it's one of those things. It's not anymore.
Oh, okay.
They will no longer. The one in Vermont no longer does it. No longer sanctions it because they don't want to pay the $17,000 it takes to set up barricades and security officers and bike racks and all that shit, which I get. But like it still happens. It's just unsanctioned. Cause like I know a few colleges. I don't know any from Arkansas, where I'm from, that ever did it.
No,
I'm sure
no.
Hendrix has something. They're fucking crazy motherfuckers. But
It's not something I've heard of in Missouri.
it's
either.
not
It
not
seems
like a
more to be
Midwest Southern
coastal,
thing. It's it's on the coastal things more for sure. But like they'll do I know a lot of places do the underwear run because that's super easy and not illegal by any means.
Yeah.
But there are a few places that'll do a nude bike ride or like a nude run because it's it's one of those things where if you get enough people, it's just not worth the police's time to do anything about it or the school's time to do anything about it. They just like, well, as long as no one's getting legitimately hurt, oh well.
Yeah.
Which is how I wish more things would go. It'd be great.
It just feels like I get that though, but it seems like it could be a slippery slope. Granted, at the moment, it doesn't seem like there's any problem, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because I always wanted to do something like that at the U of A, but there was no way in hell I was ever going to get that to work.
Yeah,
it was hard to get people to like
also
do
with that
anything.
campus and the amount of issues they have with the fraternities there, but I think that's the issues with fraternities on every campus, like at the moment. But that's neither here nor there. And
I just think it would have been fun. I just think it would have been fun to do a run from the student union to the Fulbright statue and back.
Yeah, and
that'd be a cool little thing.
It can be a good way to raise money too for important causes, and I don't think people think about that.
It'd be great. Plus, like, there's so many people that maybe aren't comfortable being naked, but the idea of doing it once would be super like fun for them, or they're like, you know what, I'll try it, kind of thing, and then they're like, oh, I love this. Most people aren't like me and didn't immediately get to college and then think, why the fuck am I wearing clothes?
I think once you enjoy nature naked, once you kind of understand the like
everything you've been taught was a lie.
Joy and funness of nakedness, and like it's not inherently sexual. It's just like freeing and open.
Oh yeah. Other than the only thing that sucks about doing nude nature is the ticks, but
yeah, well, you know, ticks
you work on that.
That'll be a problem no matter what.
But yeah, so have you seen anything in the news lately that tickles your fancy? Anything?
And not particularly, because I mean, like I've said at this point, like I've explored what it is that I like, and if anything, like a lot of I feel like the newer stuff that I'm learning about now is just so out there that it's like, no, I don't know. I mean, like I said, the sex room was kind of like the most recent kink kind of news, and then like learning more about these conventions through you has been interesting, because like I knew certain conventions existed, but like I've only been subject to like the ones that are really full frontal pounding in front of everybody.
So I would love to go to those ones. I need to figure out which ones those are.
I would absolutely go to that too, because that's fascinating to me. But I think this is like a better like intro step to that.
Because I'm definitely going to be going to more if I can manage to get to them. Like if I have the time and the money, I'm definitely it'll probably be next year before I go to another one, but like hopefully by then my sex work will be a little bit more prominent, and I'll have a reason to go, more so than just like attending as a patron. I can attend as like a partner or whatever the proper term is.
Yeah.
Because like I've also come to learn that I am not as inherently kinky as most of the other people in the kink community.
Oh, absolutely. Like that's the thing, like there's always going to be there's always going to be somebody who's kinkier than you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that goes for pretty much everybody.
Because, like for me, especially when it comes to sex, it's like, I just want to have sex with people to have the experience. I don't want to, I don't need all the extra fuddle-duddle.
I think a lot of the kink stuff for me, it's more of like a foreplay thing.
Yeah.
It's not so much the, like,
which is fine. It's just like, I don't know, for me, it's like one or the other. Usually, like, I'm down to do other stuff, but it's just like, it doesn't make me, like, horny kind of thing. But I know a lot of people that are like, yeah, getting hit makes me really fucking horny. I'm just like, no, it's just fun.
So it doesn't make you a little bit horny to be spanked or flogged?
No, but I'm also usually naked, and that's just the thing doing it for me.
Oh, okay.
Because like I said, my biggest thing is voyeurism and exhibitionism. So being watched or getting to watch is like, I love it. I love being able to do that. Like, I would love to just be the show at somewhere where I could fuck. Like, it's also why I want to get into porn, because then it puts me on camera and I just love it. So you'd like to be one of the guys in the demonstrations that's being it's
flogged?
great.
Yeah. No, I think that would be a good position for you though too.
But because like I've always known, like, I'm not into needle play, knife play. Like, my thing, knife play is weird because I'm not against it. I just don't trust myself or whoever I would be doing stuff with a knife enough to do it.
And yeah, that's fair.
One, because I have Tourette's, and if I'm not focused, I will stab somebody on accident, not on purpose. I also just have shaky hands in general, and I don't fucking trust it.
Fair.
But,
I mean, you make a fair point.
But on an extreme side, I'm interested in gunplay.
I
I want.
That is one that doesn't make sense to me. So, continue.
I want to fuck my partner with my Glock.
Oh, you want to put the Glock inside?
Yeah.
As long as it's unloaded, that's
Well,
fine.
no shit. I'm never gonna have a
Yeah.
loaded gun on somebody. That's because, like, my thing is I trust myself with gun safety and enough that I know every sort of.
Could you get
thing
like
you
a Glock-shaped dildo?
Oh yeah, it would be. I found a dildo revolver that I wanted to buy back in college specifically for one of the movies I was wanting to make, but the store that sold it went out of business and I've never been able to find it again.
Damn.
I was so upset.
Yeah, I would say for me, as long like I probably would draw the line with the real gun.
Yeah,
but the
most people
Glock-shaped
do.
dildo is that's doable.
Doesn't do the same thing for
100%.
me.
But
I want the gun.
I'm just not sure those parts would. I don't know. I'm thinking that would just.
I just like my
rub the insides the wrong
well, because my
way.
biggest thing with it is the biggest reason that like draws me against it is the fact that I think the lube would ruin the gun. Like cleaning it would just be a nightmare.
You gotta have a gun that's only for fucking.
Yeah, right. Like I'm gonna buy a cheap little pistol to like just like with.
God, this gun looks like shit. No shit.
They're like, why is the patina like this? And I'm
It's
like,
been
it's
ruined
pussy
by
juice.
lube.
It's
And
pussy
pussy
juice and
juice.
lube. Cause like I definitely know that. Like I would never do a loaded gun simulation because that's just an extreme inherent risk for no good reason.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you and your partner know that gunplay is going to come into thing, you can let them think that it's fucking loaded, but just not load it.
Yeah, if that's
super
what
easy.
does it for them.
Yeah,
Don't
like-
let them think that if that makes them
Like if that's a
scared.
portion of it they want, then that's not hard to do. You can have an empty clip, put it in there, slide
Yeah.
it, and it's fine. But there's no reason to like have an active bullet in the chamber because that's how you end up like what's
Yeah.
his name on Rust? What's the actor that Alex?
Oh,
No?
yeah. You end up with an Alex Baldwin situation.
Alex Baldwin. That's who. Yeah.
Alec Baldwin. Oh, sorry.
Whatever.
Said Alex. No, I know. I mean, no, it's me too, though. Ooh,
But yeah, because like also just the idea of like.
That's the thing, is like, for me, it's like, if that's your kink, that's fine, as long as you participate in it in a safe manner where you are both trained in gun safety, you know,
Yeah.
things like that.
Because like.
As
I
long
also
as
would love
everybody
to-
is being safe, there's no problem.
I would also love to get into like a role playing situation where like there's an armed intruder and you have to like they kind of just have their way. It gets into CNC a bit.
That's, for me, that's one of the, like, fantasies for me, is like, oh no, I've been kidnapped. And
Oh
my
no, I've got a
intruder-
gun to my head.
My
I have
kidnapper
this-
is so hot.
Like I would. It just sounds really fun. But finding somebody that's comfortable, like, because like the thing is every kinky person I ever meet has severe gun trauma in their life, or is just like super
well, that's from
afraid.
the South. Yeah.
I'm over here just like, yeah, dude, I sleep with my gun because it's the safest way for me to sleep in a camper.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it depends on people's relationships with guns, but I mean, if there's a kink, there's other people that are into it.
Well, because also, like, I would love, I don't know if we talked about, I don't think we did, we might have, but, oh well, we'll talk about it again, because who cares, it's been over a year.
Yeah.
There's a variation of CNC that I want to explore that I think would be really fun that I saw on Reddit, which for those who don't know, it's CNC is consensual non-consent, which is the proper term for like rape play, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't like calling it that
Yeah,
because
it
it gives
feels
people,
weird.
gives people an immediate like no reaction. And I'm like, no, when you say it's a consensual situation, like,
Yeah,
so, but
big
yeah,
difference. But for the layman's term, that's
yeah,
what it is. But there was a scenario that this, I think I heard it on another person's podcast actually, not Reddit, where this woman has a big CNC kink, and she'll go on like Tinder or Bumble and match with people and be like, so this is what I want to happen. If you're comfortable with this, let's make it happen. And so like if they both agree that this is something they'd be open to, she's like, okay. And like she'll vet them to make sure they're not like perverts or like inappropriate people or someone who's actively gonna hurt her.
okay.
But it's
so
like,
she's got like safety procedures.
yeah, so like in order, what she'll do is she'll be like, okay, so I will be at this Starbucks at this location at this time. I will be wearing this and this. Come there, do not talk to me, do not interact with me, but like either like order a specific drink and say your name, or like let me know what you're wearing. I don't remember what she said, so that they can both like clock each other, but like not interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll like drive home and tell the person to follow her, and then she'll go into the house, not lock her door, and then they just come in and like kind of have their way with her.
Interesting.
And I think that would be so much fun to do.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate hookup.
Yeah. For me, I've got to know the person, but yeah, no, I mean, that's a fun one too, because of the like meeting at the place, but there's no like interaction. It's just like the follow home.
Yeah,
like,
it's just literally this is the person. If anyone else comes in, I'm gonna be scared.
yeah.
kind of
If anyone else comes in, it's over.
But yeah, so those are some of the things that like I've learned. I want to try to get more into. Like I've always been open to like the hitting and paddling and stuff. For me, a lot of my sexual stuff is more like if the other person is into it, because like I don't really care all that much because I'm I'm pretty vanilla. I just want to have sex with people and have good sex in
But
general.
some people's kink is participating in what somebody else's kink is.
Yeah,
like
like my
that
biggest-
gets you off, that gets me off.
Yeah,
Like,
well, like, my thing is, like, pleasing other people. I'm a big people pleaser, so it's just, like, as long as you're having a good time, I'm down. It's, like, that's my rule for pegging, is, like, I'm so open to the idea of being pegged, it's not gonna do anything for me. Like,
yeah.
I'm,
Maybe.
from my experiences so far, I have yet to have any sort of situation where I would come from it. Because, like, butt stuff doesn't, like, trigger me sexually.
Okay.
But I also still want a woman to just fuck the shit out of me because it sounds like fun, and I think they would enjoy it more than I would.
Maybe, yeah.
Mostly because I have a toy that is like built for pleasure of the
person
fucker.
pegging, yeah.
More so because like the strap-on stuff just doesn't seem super fun because it's like you're not getting.
Without that pleasure aspect there for the person doing the pegging, I don't quite understand it either.
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
I'm like, well, I wouldn't get anything out of that because that's just
Well,
going to chafe me.
Like outside of that, the biggest thing from what I've gathered from people is they like it because it gives them the sense of domination over the other,
the
and
power.
they're in charge. They're at the top, which makes sense. I also very much one of the things I don't know if you'd consider it a kink so much as just a weird taffy thing is that I enjoy my mouth. I like being spit on. Now.
No, that's definitely a kink. Like, I wouldn't say that's
Well, I
just a you thing. There's a lot of people that enjoy being spit on,
Well, 'cause, like, I
or
don't-
spit in their mouth.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like being spit on or like just straight spit, but I love trying to have like bartenders or like people when I'm out at a club just like baby bird a drink in my mouth. It's so hot and so fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, for the right amount of money, we talked about this earlier in the week, but like I was like, for the right amount of money, I would absolutely do that. Does it violate health code? Probably, yes, but for money, and you're the one whose health is being violated.
Yeah,
so,
who cares?
Yeah, like if that's what you want, you're willing to pay for it.
Because it's so much fun. It's just funny and it's nice. Plus, I get a drink out of it.
Yeah.
And then, like, I also just have a big mommy kink. It's fun. I've turned very much into a little femboy. But, I mean, not really a shocker. It's weird because, like, I give off very aggressive and, like...
It's
like
aggressive
top dog
femboy vibes.
Yeah, like I'm very aggressive and I give off like if I'm in most situations I'm like very intimidating, which I don't understand, but like I get it but I don't get it. But then I also like wear women's clothing a lot of the times. Like I wear dresses pretty consistently or a maid outfit to like festivals and whatnot. So it's like I'm very much a femboy, and also like I love wearing a collar and having women lead me around on a leash because it's just the right way to live.
Yeah, like I'm not super into domination, but I do get enjoyment out of like those little things, like bossing people around and holding the leash and things like that. Like those are enjoyable for me. But I'm not somebody that like
Which I'm sad we weren't able to go do anything like that this time.
I'm just like I'm not a sexually dominant person. Like it doesn't make me feel like I don't get off from that.
Yeah.
Like I would rather be dominated myself as far as like those kinds of things. But yeah, that's something like I think if that was what my partner wanted, like, I would participate in that. It's just, like, not on either of our lists necessarily.
Yeah. But yeah, because with as much traveling as I do, I'm always meeting new people. So it's just like.
So you get an interesting mix of different what people are into, you know?
I mean, not sexually, because I work with a lot of people who just are very against sleeping with anybody on the job, and I'm like, you guys are missing out on so much. And also, it's just like...
But I mean, I get it.
I get it because I know the people I'm working with, and they're all problematic and really... They just can't handle their shit when it comes to relationships or, like, drug use or doing shit like that in general, and I'm just like... But don't, like... But if you find a person who can handle their shit, like, don't knock it out. Like, come on.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Come on, guys. I'm right here. And then it's also, like, I'm on the clock, and it just feels weird to, like, flirt with people attending the festival.
Yeah.
To me, because, like, one, I don't really have the time to, like, go out there and meet people. Two,
Exactly.
I'm very shy at making the first move. That is not my strong suit.
You're shy?
At making the first move, okay. You know I am terrified of making the first move, Aubrey. Fuck off.
I mean, yeah. But you're a very outgoing person. So
I know, so it's like I gotta let I usually have to let the situation, like...
build a little bit.
In a sense, like, if I can figure out that someone has any interest, then it's super easy. But, like, it's finding out if they have interest or not first, which is really hard for me. But then also, it's just like... It's like the trade-off of whether or not I want to get paid to sleep in my hammock or, like, go walk around and hopefully find someone that's not with a partner and is also possible. Camping festivals are different because it's easier. Because people go there to fuck around and find out because they don't have to, they're, already on property, so you can get as trashed as you want.
Right.
Or, like, anything. And plus, the vibe is very, like, open and easy.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, like, when you're at... say, like, Rolling Loud in Miami, people go back to their hotels or their houses if they're from the area, and it's, like, just a whole hassle. And you can't, like, just casually walk back to your fucking tent at 1 in the morning after the sets are done. And then also, like, for me, it's a pain in the ass, because, like, if I do go to someone's apartment, then it's like, man, I have to go home that night and just wake up with no sleep. Whereas... at a camping festival, I can wake up in someone's tent and then walk the 10 minutes to the job site and not have to worry.
Exactly.
I hate myself a little bit, but oh no.
But what else is new,
you don't hate yourself a little bit after waking up in a stranger's bed. It's like, did you really have good sex, or did you just show up?
Well, where are we sitting now?
We're not too bad. Wouldn't hurt to try to get a little bit more out of it. I don't know. What did we watch? Oh, you wanna just talk about the unbridled sexual energy of Jeff Goldblum the other day?
Oh, it wasn't even okay. So we had come across a video on TikTok of Jeff Goldblum in Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tales as the Big Bad Wolf in The Three Little Pigs. But it's not just Jeff Goldblum. Also, Shelley Duvall is there. One of the other pigs is Billy Crystal, and the other
Fred Willard.
Yeah, and Fred Willard. And then there was another guy who I'd seen in some other things. Yeah, there was just this oozing sexual energy, and maybe it's because the Big Bad Wolf clearly wasn't getting laid. His wife was very angry with him.
That wasn't his wife.
It wasn't his wife?
No, that was just some random woman. Are we talking about the pink pig?
No. In the cave. We never see his wife.
Oh, I thought that was his mom.
No, I thought it was his wife the whole time, because every time he would act like, your classic annoyed husband kind of shtick. But, God. The sexual energy from him, and then also the pig was the female
what we assume
pig.
Is a prostitute.
Which I can only assume is a prostitute the way she is soliciting the pigs.
And
like,
the wolf.
And the wolf.
She's like, I'd love to go home with you, and he's like, I just want to eat you.
Yeah.
I'd eat you right up. She's like, oh my, at least take me to dinner first. She's like, you are the dinner.
Exactly. Like,
I was like, oh my god.
But the thing was, she, first tried to get with the middle brother, and then, once she realizes his house is shit, she's trying to get with Billy Crystal, Then when the wolf gets there and she's like, oh, we might be in danger, she gonna jump on over to the wolf's side. And I was like, wow, using your sexual energy to keep yourself safe. What an interesting way of telling this story.
And it was weird because it was a full fucking hour-long episode. Like, this was extremely long of an episode.
I did not anticipate it being that long. I won't say, like, I'm not going to say it's worth it to go watch it. But
I would, just because if you're a Jeff Goldblum stan, then go watch it because it's hilarious. Because his acting makes, it's so weird because it was in partnership with Lionsgate, so it had money behind it, but it was very clearly from, like, the early 90s. It had to be.
I was going to say 80s.
Yeah, late
like
80s.
Mid-80s, maybe.
Early 90s, something.
Yeah. What was weird, though, is I was just like, I don't think any other actor would have looked at the role of Big Bad Wolf and done it in this way. Like, there's nothing big and bad about him. It's just the sheer confidence.
Because I want to know if Goldblum had any major parts prior to this thing, like if he was like a known actor or not. Like, it's definitely before Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
My thing is, I don't know if it's before Earth Girls Are Easy.
Based on, like, the way that the film was and the quality of it, I would say they're around the same time.
The quality you can't really go off of because it could very well just be a copy paste from something like recorded on VHS and then upgraded to digital format, which would definitely fuck it over. You're looking it up.
Yeah, Earth Girls Are Easy was 1988.
Really? It's that old? Okay.
I saw that at a young age that I should not have seen it at. And the sexual feelings I had for the aliens, I didn't know how to process.
Look up the 3 Little Pigs, see when that came out.
Yeah, 3.
Just look up Shelley Duvall fairy tales. That'll be the best. Cause like
here it is. Because I looked it up the other day.
The episode.
1985. So this
really?
is 3 years prior.
Okay,
yeah.
so he was not a well-known actor by this point. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Out of curiosity, I will go see.
Does it show in order?
In prior to, yeah, it should show in order.
Because like I think Earth Girls Were Easy was one of his like main ones.
So being in Fairy Tale Theater, that was the TV series. Ooh.
You're in your names.
Before that, he.
Is there anything we notice?
No, he had like a one episode thing on a Laverne and Shirley. He was Ichabod Crane in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
That's gotta be
but nothing.
PBS thing.
Okay, he was in Starsky and Hutch for an episode. Really? But these were like smaller things. Like I don't think he had really broken out.
So this is definitely while he's still so then let's see, is there anything above it that comes out really that's
yeah, immediately after that, he was in Silverado, which I have
The Fly was his breakthrough.
Fly.
So that was the next year. So this was the year before he really got anywhere. So that makes sense. Because The Fly was his big breakthrough.
Yeah.
But it's just like, cause like I'm just trying to imagine, like the production and all of the like the directors and whatnot for it. They're just like, yeah, just be a mean New York man, pretty much, but dressed as a wolf. Because a lot of the commentary and whatnot just didn't make any sense on it. It was just like, where is he coming from with this? But also, it's just like, it was very like it seemed like he was like. I guess I didn't catch the motivation for wanting to knock the pigs' houses down.
Yeah, I think he was literally just trying to get his wife off his back and bring her back a pig to eat. Like, I'm pretty sure that was his entire motivation. And it just seems like he just really doesn't want to do it, but he's gotta in order to end his suffering.
Because I missed out on that part, I guess, because to me it seemed like he was doing it because he was mad at them for using improper building techniques.
I mean, I'm mad about it too, so if that's the reasoning, I always agree with Big Bad Wolf. Yeah.
Because that was just such a weird thing to find, but it was one of those, we had to go watch.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I feel like we always find something interesting and out there to watch, but that's what I like to take in odd media.
I'm trying to think of any other odd media that I still gotta show you, there's a few things I need to show you before I leave, because I forgot show you them. The Possibly in Michigan is a good one that I can
Okay.
pull up on YouTube real quick. But yeah, I think that does it for the podcast episode. I can't quite think of anywhere else to branch off into.
Well, we're gonna go skedaddle and watch some things.
So, for those who made it this far, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Another great conversation with Aubrey, thankfully, when talking with her. It goes by very quickly, so it doesn't seem like it's been a whole hour or so, which is always nice.
And if you like hearing me talking, you can hear me twice a month on What Are We Talking About? Granted, our conversations aren't very sexual, but we do cover movie, media, and like pop culture type stuff. So,